Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I would like to break down one of the most useful IV based data points inside of the spread monster. You guys must be aware about it. It's the IV walls and the IV peak areas. Most traders only look at price, but options market is often telling you where we are supposed to see reactions before price even gets there. So spread monster with the IV data does that for you. So in today's video, I would like to show you exactly what these levels mean, how they are derived, and how you can actually use them in trading, right? So first of all, in your fractals, you have to go to wave 1 daily, and further we're going to talk about the days to load and how is it important for deriving the IV data. So I'm going to first of all load the default 200 days to load right here. Now I'm going to open spread monster, right? And inside of this spread monster, if you want to look at the IV data, you need to open the density graph, right? And then you need to click on today's expiry. Now this will load the IV data on the density chart, right? I'm going to click on it right here. And here we have the IV data. Now, what it usually does is that these aren't like random support and resistance lines. Like these are all important lines generated from the IV data inside of the spread monster, right? Basically, it gives you sort of a future possibility of movement of price, like telling you that where we can see consolidation, where we can expect a sort of like a support before price even reaches there. Okay, so before we even talk about the IV walls or the peaks, let's just talk about the implied volatility and what it does. So basically it's like giving you an idea of the expected movement, right? So basically if we have higher IV, it means that we do have a larger expected move. We have a lower IV, it means that we can expect consolidation or lighter movement inside of the market. But this IV isn't just enough, right? So basically the real edge that comes from this data is from the strikes. Basically you get to know that where the volatility is concentrated. Now that is what spread monster or the density chart is trying to tell you, because you can here derive the IV wall and the IV peak. We are going to talk about what they mean, right? And basically what it does is that it takes the option data across all these strikes and sort of maps it out, right? So now you can actually analyze the distribution of the IV. Now you can know that where you can expect resistance or support or sort of like a pivot movement, right? Now you can see some of the zones are concentrated. So these are important points. We're going to talk about it. So first of all, we're going to talk about the IV wall. I would like to pause the video right here. From this point on, the video gets a bit complex as I'll be teaching you the method of deriving the IV wall and what are the conditions you need to look at in the density chart to derive the IV wall, and what are the monitor settings you need to be aware about that are the best to derive the IV wall, because deriving these levels is a work of great precision that is going to be really helpful for you in deriving these levels. So let's move on. An IV wall is essentially a price zone where the implied volatility structure creates a sort of resistance or a significant barrier. Okay, and why this basically happens, we could say that a lot of volatility expectations cluster there, right? And that leads to the formation of an invisible support or a resistance, right? And now I'm going to show you that out of all these strikes, which one is the IV wall for the upside and the downside. Basically what we can expect from the IV wall is that price approaches the wall, it could stall there, or rejects and goes to the IV peak. We're going to talk about it, don't worry. And then it could also just consolidate, right? If the price is moving upward into the IV wall zone, it can act as a resistance, and if the price is going downward, the lower IV wall, basically the downside IV wall, could act as a support. As simple as that. Now let's get straight to the derivation. But before that, there's something that you need to know about the IV wall derivation. if you're using a 4K monitor with the 16:9 ratio, right, you need to actually change the zoom to 100% because then you're going to be able to derive the IV vaults with more precision. Currently I'm sitting at 125% and I'm going to change this setting to 100% and you guys can actually see the difference in the quality of the pixels and how precise these strikes look after that. So let's move on. There you go. Now I have currently put my settings to the 100% zoom, right? And now I can actually see that there is more precision in all these strikes. I can actually see the pixel gap, and that pixel gap is really important. I'm going to be talking about the pixel gap, no worries. So first of all, let's get straight to the derivation of the IV vault. So first of all, amongst all these strikes, you need to look at the most flat one that you can see, and I'm going to tell you how. So let's zoom in right here into this strike, right? And as I put my cursor to its like very end, right, I can see that there's like literally 0 pixel gap, right? I cannot see any sort of like white area here. That is the true IV vault. But still, to confirm, if we go to the below one and put it to its end right here, I can see that there is a sort of small pixel gap I can see right here. So it means that this is the outer edge of the IV vault for me, and this one right here sitting at what price? Sitting at exactly 743.19. Now that is my true IV vault, and the one right here is my IV order flow, in which I cannot see any sort of gap. I cannot even differentiate between the end and the peak of it, right? So this is the IV order flow, and you must have seen on Milk's charts that he derives 3 IV levels, and these 3 are those IV levels. So you need to do the same thing if you want to use the Milk's derivation method for the IV vault for both the upside and the downside. So let's move on to the IV derivation for the downside, right? So for the downside too, we are going to be looking at almost no pixel gap so that we can find our true IV vault and the IV order flow and the outer edge of the IV area. Right here I can see that there is a little pixel gap, so that is not my IV vault. And the one below, I can still see a little sort of like a pixel gap. I think so this is my outer edge of the IV vault, but this right here is my IV vault. Yes, so this one is the IV vault sitting at 728.80, right? And this is my IV order flow. So this is the outer edge of my whole IV area, and if we break this one right here, we'll see the outlier move to the upside, sorry, to the downside, right? So this was about the derivation of the IV vaults. So you just need to practice this a bit so that you can actually get used to the derivation, and I know you might have to see this video again for the derivation to understand that how we actually are supposed to derive these vaults, right? So next, just talk about the IV peak areas. Now these are different, okay? So these represent like zones where the implied volatility concentration like reaches a local maximum, you could say, and think of them like pressure pockets or kind of like a pivot, because price like often reacts strongly around these regions, because we can expect sort of like acceleration, exhaustion, or reversal, and basically a move to the IV vaults, like either of them. But these aren't like, you know, guaranteed reversal zones, but these are still really important. So by the local maximum, I want you guys to find amongst all these strikes like the area where you know see that there's like a maximum number of strikes. You can see it's right here, right? And if I zoom in right here, you can also zoom in on your Windows computer by using Windows plus and plus key. So basically with that you can actually just zoom in and see everything more clearly. Now I can see that the maximum is somewhere right here, so that is gonna be my IV peak for the upside, right? And the price for it is 738.50. And same I'm gonna do for the downside right here. Right now, again, I'm gonna zoom in, as simple as that, Windows and plus, right? And now I can see that I'm exactly at the most concentrated point, right? And the price for it is 736.67. So just like that, I derived the IV data for SPY on wave 1 daily. Now there's just one more thing that you need to be careful about. Sometimes you see that using the HL matching, you see that the data right here on the density chart is not that clear. It is not really that helpful because there's not enough data. So for that, if you're unable to derive the IV vol, you can actually change the number of days to load so that it reaches a point that you're able to derive the IV vol. Like right here, I can see that I'm on 200 days to load, but I'm on 1L, basically L1. So I'm here able to derive the IV vol clearly because I can see all my levels on this density chart, right? Sometimes you will see that these strikes like here for the downside are somewhere right here. So that is not good for the derivation of the IV vols or the IV peak. So at that point, you need to increase the days to load. Okay, and it is highly suggested that you only change the days to load to 1,000. And if you are not getting the satisfied data at 1,000 days to load, you need to change to weekday matching. That way you will be able to derive the IV data more clearly. Okay, for example, we could say that I was at L3 and I did not see that the data was clear, or I should say perfect for me to derive all my levels, right? So then I will look at the 250 days to load if I'm able to derive all my 8 levels for both the upside and the downside. And if that is not satisfying my condition, then I'm going to change my days to load to 500. And that is going to be, I think so, perfect at, I could say, L2 or L3 for the derivation of the IV vol. I will also show an example of how days to load for how L2 or like H2 it looks like on 200 days to load with the IV data, and how 500 days to load looks like for the IV data for proper derivation. I hope this makes sense. Now we're going to be looking at some patterns that you need to be careful about, and they actually repeat almost every single day, and they can be really helpful for understanding, and you can actually understand the how you are supposed to plot out these levels from that. So let's move on. So now that we understand that how the IV balls work, what the IV balls are, and what the IV peak zones actually represent. Now let's take a look at some practical setups that you can encounter like most often, like maybe every single day. Out of like one of these patterns could repeat every single day, and you just have to trade it, right? And first of all, let's talk about the IV ball reversal to the peak zone. So basically, as we know that the IV wall actually acts as a resistance, right? It's like a wall. So rather than, breaking through it cleanly, we can expect sort of like a price rejection. And this rejection actually makes the price go to the IV peak zone, right? And once the price reaches the peak zone, the momentum, like it could typically like cool down. We could see consolidation, and you cannot basically 100% know that what's possible after that. Now first of all, let's talk about this one. Now these both are like really similar, basically the support from the IV wall. Like the market opens, first of all it finds support from the IV wall zone and then to the peak. Again, once the peak is reached, we can expect a sort of a slower movement or consolidation. Okay, the next up is the top right one, that is the IV peak zone to the IV vol version. Now, I personally find this like really easy to execute because you get like really good setups with this one. As the first of all, the price is like in the IV peak zone, right? It could begin near the peak zone or price begins in it, and then it could act like a temporary like holding region for like sort of consolidation rather than just a hard reversal point. And the price rotates in the area, and then eventually it will break for the IV vol zone. Same is for the upside and the downside. It works the same, right? And it's really like low probability that we actually break the IV wall. This is the true IV wall, the IV order flow, and the outer edge of the IV wall, right? You can similarly plot it out in this format, right? If you want to trade the IV wall, right? Next up in the section 2, we are gonna talk about some more complex setups. So the first one is the peak to the wall to peak to wall to peak, right? So first of all, we could expect like a break from the IV peak, then a resistance from the IV wall, and then further we can expect a test of the IV peak and further move down. Now this is a bit more complex, but it provides you like with more opportunities for like entries if you want to trade that day, right? And it's like, making it easier for you to trade, right? And next up, we're going to be talking about the false peak zone breakout, right? Like this is again a breakout pattern, like price briefly breaks the peak or the midpoint, which may look like acceptance to you, but it could, it could fail, right? And that failure becomes another signal that the price can reverse and then move to the IV wall. Now, same is for the downside, and we can expect like a similar move to this one, right? Now we're going to talk about these right ones. The top right one right here, the low volatility one. So in the low volatility, the conditions actually change. The behavioral, you know, price action actually changes, right? Instead of like directional like expansion that we saw in all these examples, you see more like price gets trapped between the IV wall and the IV peak region, right? And it could become like choppy or like highly rotational from, 2 points like right here, right? So basically now we're going to be talking about the IV wall compression or consolidation, right? So what it does, so like this is another like low volatility IV wall consolidation pattern. Like instead of moving back to the peak, the price just likes to consolidate there, as I mentioned in the explanation. So like this is like one of the pattern that you could expect with the like IV wall plotting, right? And next up, we're going to be talking about some of the rare or low probability setups. So basically, this is like more like an aggressive scenario. Like the price completely breaks through it. And once that happens, like flow can accelerate like aggressively. Like, and you can see an outlier move, right? And this is like usually, driven by unusual positioning, or like you could say, strong momentum, or like some kind of event, that keeps on happening every single day nowadays, right? But these are like low probability, but when they happen, these could be like really really violent, right? And now this is like the worst one. Like you can, in the low volatility conditions, that we do not test either of the IV wall or the like the upside IV wall or the lower IV wall, and we could basically just consolidate it either inside of the IV peak zone or just not even in it, right? So the key takeaway here is that the IV walls and the peak zones are like just not static like support and resistance. Like basically it creates like a behavioral like I could say framework, right? And when you recognize that how actually price reacts to these levels, it becomes like much easier for you to execute, right? And basically you can use it for futures or even options. Now that's completely up to you, right? Now here my part is done, that I told you that how you can actually plot it out and how it actually works. And now it's your job to actually plot these levels out on your charts, and basically then it's going to be more clear to you, because these videos can just tell you that how things work, but to actually make it more sense for you to actually perfectly execute, you need to do it on your own. You need to practice, right? That's how it's going to be more clear.